from Speak Road. Who did he see when he heard who was there? Now it seems that he should.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room, guys. Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, November the 1st, 2022. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, it's none other than Mr. Beer. Or tonight, should I say, Shrimp Samurai.
Buffalo Shrimp Samurai.
Buffalo Shrimp Samurai. Buffalo Shrimp Samurai, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Thank you, Buffalo John. Oh, you're not eating any buffalo anything?
I'm not eating buffalo anything.
No. You are not celebrating National Vinegar Day?
I am not celebrating National Vinegar Day, but anybody that is, happy National Vinegar Day.
Yes. One of my favorite applications for vinegar is hot sauce.
Of course.
I mean, a lot of people like, pickles. It's one of my favorite applications, but you really don't need vinegar to make pickles, right?
No, you don't necessarily. It depends on the type of pickle you're making, really.
Right. Well, Polish stills or brine.
Right.
Like brine and garlic and other herbs. But yeah, so vinegar works for pickles, but hot sauce is my favorite. Then there's sauerbraten. Don't forget sauerbraten.
I could never forget sauerbraten. So
no,
I've eaten a bunch of it over the last month and a half. So
yeah, and it'll remind you at like 2 a.m. that you ate it too.
Oh, it reminds me at midnight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And now we're not talking about the vinegar. We're talking about the sauerbraten.
Yes, the sauerbraten, because
the vinegar has a little to do with it, but it's mainly the whole concoction together as one unit.
And it's the sauerbraten's like one of the toughest cuts of meat. And Germans use vinegar to soften it up so they can actually cut into it.
Oh yeah, if you get sauerbraten and it's still. I mean, it's probably still going to be delicious, right? But if you get sauerbraten and it's a little more difficult to cut into it, it doesn't mean it's bad. They didn't leave it sitting long enough in the vinegar.
Yeah,
and the rest of the brine, right? They didn't brine it long enough. Sauerbraten should basically fall apart. It should hold it together enough as they cut it, so they can't cut it too thin. Otherwise, then it will fall apart for them. But for you, as you're cutting it in the opposite direction that they cut it, it should just be basically. You could probably do it. Perfectly brined sauerbraten, you should be able to cut with a
fork. Yep. It's just like a what do you call it? Like a pot roast, right?
Sure. Right. Exactly.
I mean, pot roast is done differently to get it to that point.
Sure. But pot roast, short ribs, any of that stuff. Fork is all you need. You don't need a knife. So, shouldn't anyway. Anyway, so how are you on this fine evening?
I'm full of buffalo shrimp.
You are full of buffalo shrimp.
Most people think I'm full of shrimp.
You are. I've heard a lot of people tell you over the years that you're full of shrimp. That's for sure. But in any event, today is something else too.
It's November the 1st.
Which means it is?
The beginning of November.
Very good. You got that one. All right. No, it's also a day in Mexico.
Oh, Dia de los Muertos.
Dia de los Muertos. Dia de los Muertos. Right, so that translates to?
Day of the Dead.
Right. Correct.
This is also their dead relatives on chairs, leave food for them, and then paint their faces like skulls.
Sure. It's also All Saints Day.
Oh yeah, there is that.
And All Hallows Day too, which is basically All Saints Day anyway. But
right.
But yeah, and of course it's also the beginning of November. And what amazes me, and I'm just thinking about it, Thanksgiving is 3 weeks from Thursday.
Yeah, 3
weeks from Thursday. 3 weeks from Thursday is Thanksgiving, and then 5 weeks after that, or 5 and change weeks after that, we're talking
January.
Jingle Bell Day. Yeah.
Jingle Bell Day. Then 4 weeks after that is Jingle. 4 weeks? No,
4.5.
5. Yeah, 4.5 or whatever. We're 25.
4 or 5. No, you're right. 5.5, and then 6.
5, 6.
Yeah, because Thanksgiving's early this year.
31 days. 31 days until a full month, a month and a day before Christmas, and the week after that, we're in 2023. Yeah, and like I heard it said about 2022. Please, nobody claim this is going to be your year. Every time we do that, things get worse.
Yeah, don't say it. Just let it ride. Yeah, let it ride. Cool. All right. Well, we did have a guest tonight. Okay, this was not a
Whoa,
scheduled.
Did
Did
you misplace the guest?
Looked all over under that box there. It was very crazy.
Are they hiding behind the
right behind the
what you call the cans, the Coastal Brew Works cans?
Right there. They're going to pop up right there. No, we did have a guest tonight. This was not a scheduled.
And folks, there is the gratuitous mention of Coastal Brew Works for this show.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And I did not mention it.
Hey, you got to keep the sponsors happy.
Got to keep it happy, right? Exactly. But
we got the product placement, but you got to point the product placement out.
Got to point it out a minute, right?
Yeah, just around there.
And in about 3.5 weeks, there'll be another can to put with these four. So.
Yes. Do you want to talk about that?
We can talk about it later, but right now let's.
You're still looking. So you're still looking for the guest.
The show we're doing basically tonight. It's not a scheduled show with just Dave and I.
We've done those.
We've done those. We had one last week because we got back from Montauk. So,
Yes.
But in any event, we did have a guest tonight. Unfortunately, they're under the weather.
The weather is putting it mildly. Yes,
putting it mildly, but we'll leave it at that. They're under the weather, and we hope they feel better very, 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 very soon. One more very soon. And we will reschedule them.
Throw another very.
Throw another very. We feel very.
We feel awful for them.
Awful for them, and hopefully they will feel better soon. But the long and the short of it is they're not on the show tonight because of their condition at the moment. So that brings us to yet again another.
It's coming. Wait for it.
And
3. There you go. We're gonna owe them royalties.
I know we're gonna have to. So,
and just the two of us and all of you guys. So there's
and all of you guys.
So again, just the two of us.
Right. Just
you're right. So help us out here tonight. Comment a lot.
Comment along. Be part of the show with us.
Anything that comes to mind. Doesn't have to be beer related, vinegar related works.
And we could have very easily said, you know what, we're not doing a show tonight.
No, we're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that. But we
But
can't.
you know what? No, because I need an excuse to drink on Tuesday nights.
Exactly. And
because Monday's Monday Night Football, Tuesday night's the podcast. Wednesday's Hump Day. Thursday is Friday Eve.
Yeah, this is correct.
Right, and then Friday's Friday, Saturday, and
Sunday is fun day.
Sunday's usually depressing for many reasons because we're Giants fans and they had one player destroy lose the game for them.
Pretty much.
They pretty much handed the game over. I wonder how much Seattle paid him. That was just awful. It was awful. And I wonder if he walked back from Seattle.
Well, no, he actually flew back from Seattle because he did get concussed on the last drop.
Well, then you can't blame him for the second drop. The first one, you certainly can.
No, I blame him for both because if he had his hand on the ball, I don't know. I blame him for both.
Or maybe if he had learned a fair catch.
That'll work too.
That'll
work too. Yeah.
But at any rate, regardless of that, past years, Sundays were always depressing because being Giants fans and them pretty much sucking for the past however many years. And also, the next day's Monday, and we got to go back to work.
Exactly.
So it's a good day to drink.
It's a good day to drink.
So I'm just giving you an excuse to drink every single day of the week.
So what are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking boat beer. That's why I'm wearing my fanboy shirt.
There you go. I am drinking for my first beer.
Well, this is my first beer.
Right. And then we'll get to your second beer in a minute.
Actually, in probably about 30 seconds.
All right. So, well, you know what? I'll tell you what. Why don't you tell us your second beer?
I'm going to show you my second beer. I got to grab it so you can see it. It's a very, very special can. It's a beautiful can. Second beer.
Oh, there you go.
It's another boat beer.
Another boat beer.
It's another boat beer.
Another boat beer. So there you go.
Okay.
Fair enough. My first beer tonight is a dry hopped amber ale called Red Sand from Sand City.
You got that on the way back from Montauk.
Which I got from them on the way back from Montauk, right?
And it's funny, on the same day, John and I were both at Sand City, just different Sand Cities.
Different Sand City.
I was on the South Coast. John was up on the North Coast. John probably, I don't know who had the better dinner that night. John had himself a grilled cheese from Brew Cheese.
Brew cheese, yes.
Right, and they just have like a big thing of cheese that rotates, and they just hold the bread
Well,
against it.
they have a bunch of different cheeses here. That's the raclette is the one that they said that. They also have some other cheeses. The sandwich I had was actually called
The
it wasn't called the gabagool. There was gabagool on it, but
there's gabagool on it.
It was called a Tony Soprano.
Okay,
and it had gabagool, right, or capicola for those of you playing along at home, not living in Brooklyn or Northern Jersey.
For those of you who speak real Italian,
Right.
not
But what's funny is though on the menu it's actually in quotes GABBAGOOL,
which is spelled
gabagool.
Differently than San City's beer gabagool because it's only one B.
One B, right?
One B,
right? So gabagool, but anyway, so there's capicola on it, roasted garlic Gruyere, I believe.
Oh, I love Gruyere.
Yeah, and another cheese I forget, but it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I literally could have sat there and ate 4 or 5 of them, and then you'd have to wheel me out of there, of course.
And then does that establishment have a defibrillator?
Yeah, well, actually they do.
Good, they need one.
Right.
And what I had that night was something called rouladen.
Sure.
I can't say it with a German accent. Rouladen. So we're talking about sauerbraten.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to. It's like halfway between. It's closer to pot roast because there's no vinegar in it, right. Unless you count the pickle. It's rolled it over.
Mm-hmm.
They put pickle and bacon and garlic, and they roll that up in some really tough meat. Cook it for like 87 years or something like that.
I think it was 84. Last I checked was the
84
was the specific amount. So
they put some brown gravy over that and serve it with dumplings.
Mm-hmm.
And so, no offense to German people, but when you normally hear dumplings, I get very, very excited. German dumplings are nothing really to be excited about. They're just big blobs of dough.
And depending on what you eat them with, they're fantastic.
Yeah. So what you can do is roll them into that brown gravy. You got to get them in the brown gravy. You got to get some flavor. It's just boiled dough globs. But it's John's right. It's what you put. They're like a sewer. What you get out of them depends upon what you put into them.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But but we had that, and also the beer cheese, and the beer cheese came with both kielbasa, not kielbasa. That's wrong place. Bratwurst and knockwurst. Slices of bratwurst and knockwurst to dip that into.
Nice.
So and all kinds of vegetables, and including a whole bunch of steamed cauliflower. And yeah.
Pickled cauliflower now.
No, not even pickled. Steamed cauliflower. And
no, I'm saying that would be. I would think that it would be
pickled cauliflower, maybe,
right?
But not steamed cauliflower. And a loaf of.
Maybe they're trying to be a little more healthy, maybe.
Yeah, and a loaf of pretzel bread.
Hey, they were being a little more healthy with the steamed cauliflower, and then they gave a loaf of pretzel bread
and the bratwurst.
Go with it.
And knockwurst.
Okay. Exactly. So.
That's a place called Village Lantern in
Lindenhurst.
Lindenhurst. I recommend it every time that we've gone into it. There are people wandering around with accordions, just getting everybody nice, raucous, and loud. If you go there on a Saturday, we were there on a Saturday, but Sunday. But if you go there on a Saturday night, it's like this mini drunken Oktoberfest.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. I mean, when you go to any of the, you go to any of the Hofbrauhauses, right? You go to any of those, even the one in Manhattan too.
Yeah.
On 3rd Avenue.
Yeah.
Any Saturday night is Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
In the middle of March.
Yep.
Middle of February.
Yeah.
It's Oktoberfest. Middle of April, it's Oktoberfest.
You could have 5 people in there, and they're still going to have themselves a great old time with what's going on in that place.
Exactly.
And that place actually serves some pretty decent German beer. They've got Weihenstephaner on tap. Mm-hmm. They had the Fest beer.
Nice.
So that was nice. They've got a bunch of German beers on tap, and if you've got friends who are not of the import and craft persuasion, they do have piss on tap, so you can bring them along. So that's good.
Although, I mean, every beer drinking person always has piss on tap, right? I mean, just if that's what you're
Well,
into.
yes. Well, yeah, but what I mean. And the thing is, because I'm on like one of those water pills, and every beer that comes in, I think just as much comes out.
Probably even more.
One would hope. I really don't want to sully a vessel to measure, though.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah,
especially on the show. You can report on it later if you really feel like doing that. But
we can ask Brian.
We can ask Brian, Augie, even. Or Augie's tree, anyway. But
you've said it twice now. Don't say it.
I have said it twice, haven't I?
Don't say it again. Speaking of Brian's, we have our erstwhile, actually ex-producer. Didn't we fire him? We fired him, did we not?
We fired Brian.
We fired Brian. He's on a cruise right now.
He's on a cruise. He's on a cruise. Well, I mean, because
he's on a cruise dressed like Barney Rubble.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Actually, so
Barney Rubble, his wife is Betty, and another couple they were with are indeed Fred and Wilma. Now, Dave and I did offer to go along as Dino and Bam Bam.
Right. We're not gonna. We'll let you guess who was going to be.
Yeah, you can take your all guesses you want, but we won't tell you who's who. But we were going to go as Dino and Bam Bam.
He was going to be Bam Bam because Jess was going to be Pebbles.
Sure. There you go. But in any event, that didn't come to pass, if you will. But in any event,
well, we couldn't get Brian to foot the bill.
We couldn't get him to foot the bill. That's why it didn't come to pass.
And not to mention, I don't particularly like cruises. I've never been on one, so I can't.
I've never been on one either, but
I have no interest.
I've been interested. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's stuff on land I want to do. I mean,
yes. And I don't want to be on.
I don't have a problem taking a cruise from, like, say, West New York to Manhattan.
Yeah. That's called a ferry.
It's called a ferry. Right?
It's exactly. I don't want to be on the boat schedule. If I'm having a good time, I don't want to go, oops, gotta go, or I'm going to miss the boat.
Right.
And if that boat leaves, when that boat fucking leaves, so you got to grab.
Might as well buy a plane ticket because you're not.
Get a plane to the next island, meet the boat. And frankly, John knows how I plan my vacations. I plan them to the nth degree. It's almost a level of insanity the way I plan my vacations. And you go on a cruise like this, and there's really, you can go to concierge and you can say, I want to do this. I want to do this when we get to this island. I want to do this when we do this when I get to this island. But there's no, okay, I'm going to go and pin everything and figure it out and research it. And the breweries are open until this point, and so we got to do it in this order because this one doesn't open until then. No, there's none of that. And even though to some people that sounds like, oh my God, that's great, people do stuff for you. That's not me. Half my fun is planning the damn thing.
Absolutely.
I love planning the vacation. I've planned more vacations than I've ever been on, I think. So, but in the process of planning one to Ireland right now.
Nice. Very nice.
We're looking at some places in Tipperary.
It's a long way to there.
I was just set you up for it, didn't I?
Thank you.
One of the places is called Welcome to Tipperary. You've come a long way.
Yeah, there you go.
So I imagine if you are, from the U.S. and you go to Tipperary and you say the song while you're there, they're probably going to make you sleep with the sheep.
Probably.
Oh no,
that's
the Scotch. That's the Scotch. Never mind.
Well, sleep with the Scotch or sleep from the Scotch.
No, we're not going to go there.
No,
we'll leave that be anyway.
No, the Scottish, just the Scotch, the single malt, even blended. You okay there?
Yeah, I'm not used to having an arm on the chair because I'm using it on a stool, but I'm actually sitting on an office chair right now, and the arm of the chair hit the little wing that comes out of the desk that I've actually got the plate. So that was the fork bouncing on the plate.
Gotcha. At least it wasn't a glass.
No, that's what the glass sounds like. And that's what a glass getting some ice in sounds like.
I gotcha. Lots of sounds going on over by you today.
Yeah.
You got the sound effect house right now.
Yeah, we had laundry going on earlier, but the show started after the laundry was done. I'm knocking stuff around. Carrie just got home from work and needed some ice in her water because she is thirsty. She walked most of the way.
There you go. Ice is always important in water.
Yeah,
water is always important in general. But
yeah, get your ice, baby.
Ice, baby. So this is very good, by the way.
Oh, what are you drinking? You didn't even say what the hell. Oh, you did say this is red sand. The red sand.
The red sand. Yeah.
So this is like one of their. This is one of their first beers. This is one of their cores.
Yeah. Red Sand. It's dry hopped amber ale.
Dry hard amber ale.
Dry hard timber ale.
Dry hard cider. Ale.
Drive hard.
Drive hard. Humper later. I mean,
it's a dry hopped amber ale. It's very tasty. It's if you like a good amber ale, a little bit of hop notes to it.
I almost ordered it when I was there, but they had
citrus, but not much. You still got the malt, the caramel's coming through, but it's light. It's very light, easy to drink. It's very nice.
What did they have? I forget. They had a beer that had a really funny name to it, so I had to drink that.
Gabagool.
No, actually, they did have Gabagool, but I didn't order that one. There was another one. I forget the name of it, but it's an IPA, and I had that. But
Manigot. Did you get the Brajut IPA?
No, I got the I got the Galamad.
You got the Galamad.
Galamad and Mutzadel.
Madanad IPA.
Madanad. If anybody has never seen the SNL skit of what is the Brooklyn Spelling Bee, I think it's called.
Brooklyn Spelling Bee.
Yeah, that's you've got to see that. And if you are deep Northern Jersey, Brooklyn Italian, you will understand everything they say, and you're going to wonder why the one guy is having problems with the way they're spelling and pronouncing things.
Yeah. It's like, you'll be like, why is he questioning this? That's right.
It's gabagool.
It's gabagool. You know?
Okay, so we've seen these memes now of the Halloween City costumes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the gabagool?
I have not.
The meat ghost?
Meat ghost.
It's a gabagool.
It's a gabagool. I like that.
And it's a sheet that looks like meat. With two
right.
holes in it. That's all.
That's good. I like that.
It's a gabagool.
It's funny. Yeah. I worked in. Obviously, I grew up in the Thuman's business. We've talked about that. I've said it. You know this, right? Yeah. But I also worked in some delis when I was in high school too. And one deli I worked in over in Belleville. Big Italian family. And I'm Italian too, so it's fine. But half Italian. But in any event, there was a good blend of different types of requests, put it that way, verbiage wise coming in, right? You had the actual Italian men and women like from Italy saying, I'll have some capicola, and saying it correctly and everything else, right? Then you had the Northern Jersey Brooklyn Italians of the gabagool. Yeah, and they said it with that Italian, and they said it with that Northern Jersey Italian accent. I'm the gabagool. Give me that gabagool, right? Okay. Then you had the
overly white people
that had were Italian, right? But no accent, no.
I'll have a Coca-Cola.
No. They say gabagool, but they would say, "Can I have the gabagool?" And it was so phonetically. No slang, no
intonation.
No intonation to it, no Italian, no Northern Jersey thing to it. It was just like, I'd be like, sure.
But you probably also had so you've got the Northern Italian Brooklyn ordering mortadella.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give me one of the logs of the mortadella. Mm-hmm. Then you've got the real Italians going, I have some of the mozzarella. Right, because the way there's vowels at the end of these things for a reason, okay? Because it's going to tell you the plurality, or it's going to tell you the gender. That's why the vowels are there.
Of course,
right? They change depending upon. So the real pronunciations do say the vowels, even though where we're from, the vowels always get dropped off.
Right, of course.
And then you get those who are kind of along the line, they're going to ask for the mutz.
Yeah, give me a couple bowls of mutz.
Yeah, give me that block of mutz. And then you get the tragically white people. Can I have some mozzarella?
Mm-hmm.
I know.
So yesterday, I was in Hoboken yesterday. All right.
Why? And why didn't you tell me? I was here.
Well, it was a quick
one town over.
It was a quick in and out. And I grabbed.
That's what she said.
It was typical, right? Yeah. But
story of John's life.
There you go. But in any event, I grabbed a sandwich. I grabbed the sandwich.
Sandwich.
Sandwich. Had at a. I'll even say it. It's M&P Biancomano. The M&P Biancomano. That's the name of the
What?
deli.
God bless you. What?
M&P Biancomano. That's the name of the deli. It's
Oh,
the name
okay.
of the Salumeria, right?
Santa Maria.
It's on Washington Street,
Everything's on Washington, just
right?
about
between 11th and 12th.
3 blocks away from 8th Avenue Tavern. Yeah.
Yep, 8th Street Tavern.
8th Street Tavern. 8th Street.
Right. So which we call it, and it's a former deli. It's a former account of my father's back when he had the Thuman's routes and everything else. But anyway, so walking at M&P is Mario and Pete. Mario was the father. Pete was the son. So Pete's in there. So I walk in, saw Pete. Hey, how's it going? How you been? All of that, right? And I got my sandwich. I got my sandwich. I got my sandwich that I get all the time, right? And that's mortadella. Sopressata.
Sopressata.
Sopressata. So it's mortadella. Supersat.
Sopressata.
Sopressata. Right?
Sopressata.
Fresh mozzarella.
The mozzarella.
And red roasted peppers. Sauteed red roasted peppers. And that's my sandwich.
Oh, and that's pronounced, if you're from Jersey or Brooklyn, red roasted peppers.
Or roasted. Just say roasted. Oh, yeah, roasted.
I just opened my 3rd beer.
What's your 3rd beer today, Dave?
I need to mix it up a little bit, so I'm going to go with a boat.
Go to boat. There you go.
I'm going with a boat, so we're going to pour.
You're on a mission for some reason.
No.
Right.
No, I just like this beer. So most people don't understand that boat is an acronym.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Boat stands for
best of all time.
Of course. Okay.
Any rate, so okay, so we have one thing we haven't done in a long time on the show is beer news.
Yes.
We don't do enough of this. We used to do this all the time. It used to be actually a segment. Even to the point where we would do it every week, and sometimes we'd have to make shit up.
This is true.
No, we never made anything up.
So make some stuff up.
We're gonna make some stuff up. So from what we understand, there is a major lactose shortage, and Baleros North has shuttered their doors.
Yep. Mm-hmm. This just in from Al Gattuso just reported this.
Did he?
Al Gattuso just reported this just in. Walmart will be closed on Thanksgiving.
So I saw this. Oh my God, this is heartbreaking.
So that all self-checkout cashiers can be home with their families.
What are we going to do without the self-checkout cashiers?
I don't know. So
I'm really torn on the self-checkout thing because on one hand, like John, I like to get in and out quickly. So you get there. But of course, there's always the beep, unknown object in bagging area.
Mm-hmm.
How many people have been in self-checkout at the grocery store, Walmart, wherever, and you're arguing with the computer, I just put it in the bagging area. Ugh. So yeah, I like to do self-checkout, but it gets so damn aggravating.
Mm-hmm.
What else was going on out there, John?
I'm getting to that right now.
We do know that
I want to pull up there was there's something I want to talk about, and of course
something real. We're just making crap up now.
Yeah, no. We're not making anything up. But
we just the last 2 ones we just made up.
Well, those 2 we made up.
Yeah, what we're about to talk about, we're not making up.
Exactly. So I just because I don't want to say anything false about. Here we go. All right. So, what was it? I guess it was 2.5 weeks ago. 2.5 weeks ago, roughly. Okay. Almost 3 weeks ago. Members of the brewery associations in New Jersey.
Okay.
All right. Went down to Trenton and met with met with legislators,
the lawmakers, New Jersey lawmakers
in Trenton. A bunch of them actually got together, and they didn't have it out, but they had a powwow, if you will.
I like
a discussion, a back and forth, if you will.
So the powwow, if you're down there, that would be the Lenny Lenape, because they do have their powwows down there.
They do, and they're from North Jersey too. Lenny Lenape.
Yes. But they're major. They've got two major powwows in the state. One is down in that area. It's not too far from Cherry Hill, and the other one's up in Bud Lake.
Right. And I always remember, and I was the story to the Lenny Lenape, in the Passaic River, specifically in Fairlawn, between the river when it runs between Fairlawn and Patterson. They actually used to build these things in the river because the river gets really shallow there sometimes, right?
Like sort of like dams, but with fencing instead, right?
Pretty much. So they were like on angles coming in.
I know where you're going with this. I got you.
They on it look like arrows pointing downstream, right? So what it would do is, the fish came down when the water got shallower, it would trap the fish, and they would be able to eat, right?
Yes,
without actually having to fish or spear them or pick them up or whatever. They were there.
Well, that's still fishing. It's like sliving, but different. It's like they're leading the fish right into their trap.
Right. And do you know what the name of that sort of dam, sort of construction was actually called?
I do not.
It would be a Sluiter Dam.
Sluiter Dam. But that sounds like it's something that the Dutch made.
Because in Fairlawn.
Now
these were built by, remember, these were built by the Lenny Lenape and the tribes, right? But they were there, and they're still there. If you go there now, you can still see them. Didn't go anywhere.
Really?
They're still there. Right?
In Fairlawn.
So they were called the Sluiter Dam. They were given that name. And my Fairlawnian education, my Fairlawnian education is many years past, right, behind.
Yes.
So I could be. So I'm paraphrasing a little bit. So give me a little bit of
little leeway
here. But Dutch settled Fairlawn.
The Dutch settled most of the area of northern Jersey, southern New York. Yes.
Right, which is where
the Hudson Valley.
Right. So them already being in place in the river, that's how they got their name, Sluiter Dam. Like the Lenny Lenape didn't name them. They just put them there because they want to catch fish. They
didn't bother.
They weren't like decreeing, I built the Sluiter Dam. No, they weren't doing that. No.
And that's the other thing. What's neat is the Dutch word "kill." Dutch word "kill" means pretty much river.
Yeah,
it's a body of water, but river. So anytime that you call it the Schuylkill River, you're being redundant, right? Or anything like the Arthur Kill. The Arthur Kill. No one ever says Arthur Kill River, and that's correct.
Right.
It is the Arthur Kill. It is the Arthur River.
I prefer to say the one part of the Arthur Kill is the Kill Van Kull, right? I like
the Kill Van Kull.
I always thought that was, when I was a kid, I always thought that was cooler to say Kill Van Kull than Arthur Kill.
It rolls right off the tongue.
Kill Van Kull. Why do they want to kill Van Kull? What did Van Kull do?
So confused all the English people when they came over, like, what is all this killing going on over here? So we've gone to a lesson on the uses of vinegar, to a history lesson of the Hudson Valley. And we're a beer podcast.
Don't forget Italian deli meats.
And how to pronounce Italian deli meats.
And some German meats in there as well.
And German food, yes.
There you go. So we are nothing if not international. Okay. Which is why we decreed September, what was the date? September 28th.
September 28th is
International Lager Room Guys Day, right?
So. We're resting that entire on the fact that one of the podcasts I was live from Italy. But we claim it now because we were international.
We also have
people that comment from England.
People that comment from Italy and people that comment from the UK.
I said England. You heard Italy. I said England.
I heard Italy. Yeah.
And hopefully this coming August, I will be broadcasting live from
Lord's Brewing.
Erin, the Green Island, the Isle of Green,
the Emerald Isle.
The Emerald Isle. There we go.
Are you going to get down to Old Blighty?
We're going to be all over the damn place because here's the whole thing: Ireland's not that big. Right, Ireland's
small.
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 Yeah, it's what, about the size of maybe New Hampshire?
Ish.
right?
Yeah.
Around there. It's smaller than Maine. I
Mhm.
think Maine's bigger than Ireland, or maybe it's close to the size of Maine. But we're going to be all over the place. Kerry, surprisingly enough, her family's from County Kerry, but also County Cork.
Go figure.
Go figure. So we'll be down there. We will be, through Tipperary, the whole south of Ireland.
Mhm.
Of course, we got to get up to Dublin. We will be at St. James Gate. We want to get. She wants to go.
Well, you know what? When you go to St. James Gate, let me know.
Yep.
And I will go down to Atlantic City, and I will go to St. James Gate.
There we go.
And we'll both be in St. James Gate at the same time.
There we go. I'll let you know what date that will be, because you know me, I overplan everything, and I will, because we'll have to schedule the tour. Because the thing I hear about that tour is it's one of the most amazing brewery tours you're ever going to have, and at the end of it, they teach you how to pour a proper pint.
Yes, you told me. I moved on to my second beer, by the way.
Oh, is it a boat?
No, it is not. But I do thank you for it. It is from what's this brewery? What did we say? Phil Harmstead?
Yeah, Phil Harmstead
Phil Harmstead Brewing.
Yeah, they're out of Hoboken, right?
They're in Hoboken. Phil Harmstead. Yeah, nice guy. Makes good beer. Hill Farmstead, Song of Autumn. It's a red IPA. And
I'm so sorry for foisting this beer off on you.
You know what? I know you wanted to just unload it because you know.
It's a shelf turd.
Yeah, definitely. So I haven't taken a sip of it yet. I just poured it, which is a lovely pour. Nice head retention.
Okay, so that is definitely. Look at that! It's in a treehouse glass.
It's in a treehouse glass.
Weird.
I do not have a Hill Farmstead glass. Otherwise,
neither do I, for that matter. Yeah. And I was there, and for some reason, I did not get a glass.
Great nose.
Yeah, thank you. Yours is nice too.
Thank you. I just had it cleaned.
So this is basically hoppy autumn in a glass.
Oh wow! Oh, that's lovely.
Hill Farmstead. I don't know that they've ever done a bad beer.
No, that's quite fantastic, actually. Thank you very much. This is tasty. I'm glad.
Yeah, when I taste it, I gotta get John one of these, because this is right in his wheelhouse. Anybody's watched the show know his favorite beer is Celebration Ale. This is not too far off of Celebration, because it's a hoppy red. But it's a little different because it's an autumn hoppy red rather than a holiday hoppy red.
Exactly.
So it tastes like those crisp fallen leaves of red and brown. Not literally. It's just we're getting
it's not as crunchy as you would think that would be.
We're just getting poetic here for a moment. But it is literally fall, hoppy fall in a glass. It's the only way I can describe that beer.
Absolutely. I just on another note, I will tell you this.
C minor,
D major, actually.
Well played.
All right. So in any event, actually, it's actually a pentatonic scale. This particular thing. But we won't go there. We won't go there just now.
We just excited all the music nerds listening.
All three of them.
All three. You're counting the two of us,
right? Exactly. So anyway, on that note, we have a few other collabs scheduled.
And when he says "we," he's not about him and me. He's talking about Coastal Brew Works.
I'm
going to giving the audience a little context here, because John has seemed to have lost context.
Coastal Brew Works. We talked about it on the show a few weeks ago when we released the Brick City collab. You had it last week on the show.
Yeah, and the thing is, and I told John, because I'm always honest with John, not my favorite hop profile. It's like pineapple and dankness. And I don't mind pineapple so much if it's just pineapple and then like maybe some citrus behind it. But when you go pineapple and dankness, dank's never been kind of my favorite profile, and throwing it into pineapple to me. However, and if you're into craft beer, if you rate craft beer, you have to get around your own personal taste every now and then and be able to identify when a beer is done well, even if you don't particularly like the flavors that it's throwing.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say one thing about this beer. This is a very fine product. It is extremely well brewed. It's a beautiful beer. You rebrew that beer with hops that I like. And
it's even better.
I'll drink the hell out of it.
Right.
But that it was a fantastic beer
mm-hmm.
for the hop profile that it had.
Well, thank you very much. So there's a collab coming up that we're brewing 2 weeks from tomorrow. More on that 2 weeks from today.
Nice.
All right. So I'm just a little foreshadowing. But we have several other collabs on the schedule. Several. I'm not going to say who they're with, but I will gloss over.
Oh my God! You just forgot your grammar.
I'm not going to say whom they're with.
There you go.
All right. But I will tell you this one. The reason I'm getting to this right now, based on drinking this beer, is that in the next...
You're doing one with Hill Farmstead?
2 or 3 weeks, I wish. In the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to be brewing a wet hop harvest ale.
Wet hop harvest ale. Now, I remember my first wet hop harvest ale. Mm-hmm. I was by myself. It was kind of scary, but I had a dish towel. Oh, sorry. No. Well, it's just the Sierra Nevada's harvest ale.
Sorry about that, folks.
It applies, though, because of Sierra Nevada's, when they did they did a West Coast harvest and an East Coast harvest ale. Mm-hmm. Remember those? Oh, God, those were so good.
They were fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we're doing a wet hop harvest, and
East Coast isn't right. Eastern Hemisphere.
Well, here's the thing: it's going to be, even though Celebration is a fresh hop, wet hop, fresh hop. I mean,
what's the diff?
Right.
Right.
And it's a red IPA, right? So more or less holiday-esque, but it's not going to be basically Sierra Nevada Celebration, but it's going to be close to it. So we're doing that.
Excited.
I'm very, very excited for this, and of course,
is it going to be a red ale?
It's going to have some red character to the malt.
Okay, so it's going to have some nice SRM to it.
Yeah. So you'll be at the release at that particular brewery. More on that once it's completely been very nice.
I like.
So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. So anyway, but yeah, we've got to probably over the next couple of months, over the next 2 or 3 months, we probably have about 6 more collabs.
Cool. Now that's a great segue into the next true Coastal Brewworks beer.
There you go. All right, I will actually put up. I don't have the can art. I have the label.
I've seen it. The can art's beautiful.
I'm not putting up the label right now because I have the label, but I don't have the can art. Like the when I say can art, if anybody's watching the video, I mean like here's Rising Tide, right?
It's all
that
the wrap.
The wrap. I don't have that finished just yet, but the label's done. So, but Dave can inspect. But the beer is called Nautical Twilight.
So it's going to be dark, is it not?
It is a coffee porter.
Oh.
It is a 6.5% coffee porter.
Now, where are you getting the coffee from?
Coffee is coming from a roastery in West Belmar.
West Belmar. That's not that far from where you live.
That is correct. It's
probably within 8 minutes.
It's probably within 8 minutes for me to walk there, actually, to be quite honest with you. But in any event,
because I tease John all the time. Every time there's something in Monmouth County, it's like, oh, that's only 8 minutes away from me.
8 minutes. 8 minutes. Well, this is true. In any event, we're about it's called Turnstile Coffee Roasters, I should say, to be exact. And Matt and I sat down with them a little while back, and we put together a special blend of specific types of coffee, and whatchamacallit, that particular blend is going to be the base for our coffee porter. It was brewed.
Can you share the coffee blend?
Not so much,
because I am a coffee nerd. So when the show's over, you've got to tell me.
I will work on that. But in any event, yeah. So what we're basically doing is we'll We brewed the porter today, so it's a nice.
Yes, you said Matt was up.
Up brewing it with the guys from up that way.
Yep, not too far from me.
Not too far from you. And we so it was brewed today. Nice. I mean, not overly roasty, not overly chocolatey, but just a nice amount. It's a good, solid English porter.
Okay, so English porter. So English porter. When you say English porter,
well, I say English porter. I'm using that loosely. It's not actually specifically an English porter.
Okay, because when you say English porter, it's more brown than black.
No. This is black. This is a black.
Okay.
This is a black porter.
No,
but it's more characteristic of an English porter than an American porter. But it is a black porter.
Okay. Well, let's face it. All porters are English because it was invented there.
Of course, right.
It was named after the people that they brewed the beers for.
Mm-hmm.
Because back in the day in England there were pales and there were darks. They had two. It was like going to the Irish pub in McSorley's, right? You had one or two colors. You want pale.
You want lighter dark.
You want lighter dark.
We want lighter dark. Yes.
And from these two styles, so many styles were born. The IPA was born from the pales. And then porter was a dark, but because of the dock, the porter is a dock worker. They need something a little more robust, so they made the porter, and then they need something even more robust, and that's where the stout came out. Stout was an adjective more than anything.
It was a stout porter.
Yeah, it's a stout porter.
A stout is a stout porter. So everything.
Well, no, not true, because stout has changed.
No. Then
yes.
Then
now stout has changed. It is not even. It's not the same recipe.
No,
you're unmalted barley.
Just
right?
Beautiful head retention on this. Look at the lacing.
It's not Farmstead.
Look at the lacing. Look at the lacing.
Everything they do is perfect.
Look at the lacing.
It's just.
I mean, that's almost like it's almost like real lace. I mean,
yes. Look at it. Yeah, they're disgusting how perfect they do everything. It's just they drive me crazy. And love every part. But right now, what a lot of the ingredients that are in a stout were not existent in the original stout that was developed off the porter.
Yeah. But what I was saying, where you were going, where I started going, was that basically it was when the original incarnation of a stout, like you said, it was an adjective. It was a stout porter, meaning it was a heavier porter.
Yep.
It was a heavier porter. It was a bigger porter. It was something a little more beef to it, a little more roast to it.
And then the Romanovs came to visit England. Mm-hmm. They drank a stout. They really liked the stout. But being the Romanovs, they wanted it. Not only did they want it stronger, they did want it stronger, but also the British realized that they're going to ship stuff to Russia. Mm-hmm. They need to be a little more higher in alcohol to get it there.
Sure.
One, they didn't want it to freeze. And two, they needed to survive the voyage without going bad. So they increased the alcohol, and thus the Russian Imperial Stout was born. Mm-hmm. And then Americans got their hands on it, and we just went freaking ape shit with it. Because America.
Right? And like I was like Brian Boak, right? His tagline for his Monster Mash, which was his Russian Imperial Stout, right?
Yes.
He always said, in America, we call it a Russian Imperial Stout. In Russia, they call it breakfast.
Pretty accurate.
So,
in Mother Russia.
There you go. So you're drinking your fourth beer, are you?
I am drinking my fourth beer.
What's your fourth beer tonight?
I decided to mix it up a little bit.
You go to boat. All right. Fair enough.
So we've got we're doing. I'm putting the dead soldiers over here.
There you go. So you wanted to kill a 4-pack tonight.
Carrie got me 2 4-packs yesterday. She went to take the car serviced up in I guess Mawa, and there's a Bottle King up that way
in Ramsey.
Mm-hmm. Actually, no, her dealer's in Ramsey. Actually, thank you for that. And right near her dealer and that Bottle King is a place called Uncle Giuseppe. So you can get there.
Uncle Giuseppe, sure.
Yeah, you can go there and get your gabagool. Mm-hmm. Right? We just came full circle. There's a second Uncle Giuseppe's now.
I did not know that.
Yes, it's in Parsippany, so where 202 crosses 10.
Sure.
I don't know if it's Morris Plains, Parsippany, that whole
Where 202 crosses 10 is Mount Morris Plains. There's the Wendy's right there.
Right, but one of the corners.
No, it's not where Atlanta Bread used to be, is it?
It's where the ShopRite was.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's where the ShopRite was.
Still Morris Plains, one way or the other, but
no, one of those. Parsippany is Parsippany is like 2.5 of the corners, and Morris Plains is 1.5 of the corners.
Where the ShopRite is Morris Plains.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's Morris Plains, but that's where the other Uncle Giuseppe's is, and I highly recommend Uncle Giuseppe's. It's one of the few places I've been able to go to other than Italy in New York City, in the building that I work in, where you can actually get not just prosciutto di Parma, but you can actually get the prosciutto di San Daniele.
San Daniele is the better one. You know, if you look, there's nothing wrong with prosciutto di Parma. It's amazing prosciutto.
I love it, but San Daniele, there's a delicacy to it. It's
just so soft. It's so it's like it basically is prosciutto that melts in your mouth.
Yeah,
we're back to the Italian culture.
And if you paid attention to the last show, we're talking pasta. My favorite pasta dish was one of the prosciutterias in San Daniele, and we went through their pretty much whole catalog of prosciutto there. And then I had a dish which was, I can't remember what they call it, but it's kind of like a tortelloni stuffed with prosciutto and cheese, and then over top of it they had shaved the rind of the. Oh God, that is beautiful. Okay, so people who are only listening, John is holding up a glass that's got lacing on it, which is just absolutely gorgeous.
The glass is empty, and
oh my God,
and yeah,
it's like amazing.
So if you are just listening to the audio podcast, I suggest you go to either the Facebook video, obviously replay, 52 minutes, and look at the lacing on this glass from this.
John, that would make an amazing ugly Christmas sweater.
Yeah, you know, I'm actually going to take a picture of the lacing.
That would make it. Am I wrong? That would not make an amazing ugly Christmas sweater.
I think that would make an amazing ugly Christmas sweater. I'm actually going to take a picture of just the glass. There we go. Got them both. All right.
There we go.
All right. Which means I'm moving on to my third beer.
And what is your third, John?
My third beer is one of my favorite fall beers that I have.
And it's actually, as far as I'm concerned, it is one of the most underrated New Jersey beers ever.
Agreed. And that would be this boy right here.
And it is from Kane, and everyone knows Head High. Everyone knows Overhead. And a lot of their other beers, as a matter of fact, Sneak Box has become extremely popular for them.
Sneak Box has become huge at this point for us.
As a matter of fact, we had actually thought we bought Sneak Box. We didn't buy Sneak Box. We actually bought the Imperial version of Sneak Box, which is also a really damn good beer.
Nice.
But when you talk about Kane Brewing, like John, this is possibly my favorite beer that they make.
Yeah, this is definitely my favorite non-barrel aged beer.
That's fair. That's because Mexican brunch is fantastic.
Mexican brunch is fantastic. My favorite, I'm sorry, and this happened last year. My favorite barrel aged beer that they do at this point is Wooden Cleat.
That is the barrel aged barley wine.
It's a 24-month barrel aged barley wine in Willet bourbon barrels.
And I've not had Wooden Cleat.
It is insane.
I got to get my hands on that next time they send that out. And, everyone's sitting there going, but what about Night to End All Dawns? Okay, Night to End All Dawns is a beautiful beer, so we'll give them a nod. But Driftline is an imperial oated brown ale.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get a finer brown ale. State of New Jersey? Yeah, I'm not sure you can find a finer brown ale in the state of New Jersey than that beer.
Well, we have one that we're going to be doing, but it's not going to be quite the same beer as this, so I'm not going to compete. We're not going to compete with this beer by any means. But it's going to be a good brown ale, one way or the other. But it's going to be a different brown ale. Okay, so it's not in competition with this brown ale. by any means.
So we completely went off the rails. We were talking beer news.
We were talking beer news. Yeah, but we didn't have. There's not a whole hell of a lot going on. I mean, for me, this time of year is beer season, right? And we're about halfway through at this point. We're about halfway through beer season because it starts. I mean, essentially for me, it starts.
I don't think we're halfway through because for me, beer season lasts through the release of all the. We're starting to get to the silliness of Valentine's beers being released.
Oh no, yeah, no. Here's my point. When I say halfway through, I mean, hear me out. For me, beer season with the good beers should start in September, right? With the fall beers, with Oktoberfests, with the fall-esque German beers, brown ales, maple brown ales, everything that starts
and ends in January. So yes, you're
and
right.
ends in January, so it's halfway through.
Yeah.
But if you back it up to when a lot of these
I thought we'd get through one damn show without sirens.
Almost, but it's whatever.
They turned, so they're good.
It wouldn't be a show without it, but one of the facts of the matter is that a lot of these fall beers come out in late July, early August. So if you push it to Valentine's Day, now we're still halfway in the middle, right? So we're about halfway through. So 6 of one, half dozen the other. But my point is we're about halfway through beer season. So that includes pumpkins, but it includes Oktoberfest. It includes a lot of the German styles that are more prevalent in fall than not. The brown ales. Brown ales are one of my favorite styles.
We are aware of this. It's Schwartz, Alts, Kellers, Browns, dark milds. The one thing we've got consistent here is kind of the higher number in the SRM level.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't all have to. I mean, Keller beers aren't really that, obviously.
Yeah, they're a little lower.
Yeah, they're a little lower in the SRMs, but in any event, yeah. So it's my season, right? It's my favorite type of season, right? But then that brings us into
Don't hog it. Don't hog it.
Oh, I know yours as well. Ours. How's that?
Yes, there we go.
But that brings us into of course, into Sierra Nevada Celebration, which is my favorite beer. Period.
It's a red,
right? And it also brings us into a lot of your Belgian holiday ales,
St. Bernardus,
which we're going to be drinking soon, and which I did get gifted this.
There's not a damn thing wrong with getting that. That is a beautiful little chalice in there.
It's a beautiful thing.
Is the Christmas one in there?
The Christmas one is not in here. No, it's the Prior 8. It's the Pater 6. It's the
Abbott ABT.
Abbott, it's the triple and the Abbott 12. ABT 12.
The 12.
And so on one Christmas show, whenever it is, I'm not sure. It's not going to be on the holiday show because
you're gonna drink all of those.
All 4 of these are going to be on that show. So I'm going to be happy that night.
So what I think I'm going to try to do is, if you remember, I went to a Belgian restaurant in Manhattan. We went for mussels, and I had the St. Bernardus 12 on tap.
Yep.
And I'm going to check and see if they get the St. Bernardus Christmas on tap.
St. Bernardus Christmas on tap is fantastic. I always got it every year at the bar.
And if they do, gonna have to make a return visit to that bar.
Let me know, and we'll go with you.
Yeah, I will let you know when they've got it on there. It'll probably be one of those nights. It'll more than likely be a Friday night.
It's fine.
Because it'd be one of those nights where Carrie and I are both working in the city, and you know what? We're done. Let's go get dinner. Let's go get some beer. Let's go get some mussels. This is the place that we go to. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's I forget how much it is. It's like, I think it's like 30 something, and it's like all you can eat mussels, and you can keep changing up what type of mussels you have.
You can get a red sauce, you can get a hot sauce, you can get a garlic and oil, and
oh god, the white wine and garlic, or the beer and garlic.
Oh, beer and garlic's amazing. Sure, absolutely.
Well, that's the Belgian style of mussels, is it not?
Yep.
You know, and it's and I hate to say it because my favorite way to do it is actually with a that InBev product. because I'm not gonna waste a damn good Belgian pale. But you need something along those lines. So yes, I usually use Stella when I do that,
which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, here's the thing. I understand the mindset of not wanting to give my money to AB InBev,
which is what I usually stand by.
I get it. I do, and I'm with you. But I'm also not going to cut off my nose to spite my face. Okay, I'm going to buy bottles of Bourbon County Stout. I won't.
I won't.
I understand. Actually. I'm not going to buy a lot of them, mind you. I'm not going to buy 30. But I'm going to buy bottles. I'm going to buy two of maybe whatever the best two of the adjuncted ones are that year.
And I love that
I always will buy one bottle of the regular one.
And I love that he does this because I will show up to the bottle shares that he brings this, so I don't have to pay for them.
Here's the paper, right? But yeah, if I have to, if I have to make something with, like you said, with Stella or something like that, whatever. Look, how much money are they actually getting from me if I go to a bottle shop and buy two single 12-ounce bottles or 11.3-ounce bottles
of Stella? $1.50 off you.
Yeah, really? You know what I mean? I'm using it for a purpose for me that's going to make me happy. They're not even going to know that I gave them that.
Because $1. I'm sure as hell not using Golden Drock to make.
Now, if I have a Golden Drock, I'm drinking it.
And then standing up very cautiously because I really think that's one of those beers that is does not report the ABV appropriately.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I forget what Golden Drox is reported as. I really think it's up more closer to like 11%.
No, I think it's like 8, almost 8.9, 8.9.
Yeah, I think that's what it's reported as, but I really think it's higher because
it's over 10. It's definitely over 10.
It's definitely over 10. I've drank one of those and went to get up and went, oh hell, gravity works.
Okay.
That is one powerful beer. I really think it's stronger than Delirium.
No, Golden Drock Classic. Oh no, that's the Strong Dark. Never mind. Hold on.
That humming is like John's Jeopardy music.
The Strong Dark is 10.5. It's rated at 10.5, but we're not talking about the strong. We're talking
about the pale.
We're talking about the pale.
Oh no! Golden Drock is.
Well, it's a Strong Dark, yeah, but they have a couple of different incarnations of it.
Okay, so it is close to 11. So maybe it's not maybe it's not misreported. Very possible.
Golden Drock. I did not know this. Did you know that Golden Drock has a smoked beer?
Huh?
Yepper. Golden Drock smoked. It's called.
Holy crap!
All right.
That's 10.5 as well.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. It is not located 100 miles of me right now, so I don't think we're getting it.
No, because John and I have been planning for a little while now a smoked beer show.
And it's going to happen on January 10th.
Tune in because we will have the king of smoke in the U.S. on the show.
And not even self-proclaimed. Everybody that he knows proclaimed him.
He hates this. He really hates this. He's doing this show grudgingly because him becoming the king of smoke.
Quick side note. Even I was looking for the golden ale. Okay.
No, but it is the dark.
It's 10, but it's 10.5. They're all 10.5.
Okay. So it's not understated. But he hates the fact that he's doing the show grudgingly. Because him becoming the king of smoke started off as a joke on his own podcast with his own podcast partner that we can't
mention his name. Don't mention it.
We can't say because it's been said twice already.
And I will go out on a limb and say he may or may not make an appearance on a podcast here in 2 weeks, but we'll leave it at that.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Okay. Oh, is that when that's scheduled?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Mm-hmm. And I wish I'd picked up some beer there. And I feel like such a douchebag because I promised that guy because I had some Coastal Brew Works in the car, and I said I'll run to the car and grab you some.
And you didn't.
And I went through 3 of his beers. We talked a whole bunch of stuff. We talked Dungeons and Dragons, and I left without giving him the beer. So I feel like a complete ass for not doing so. So I'm going to have to make a return there. And the place we're talking about is 4 buildings away from the German restaurant I mentioned earlier in the show. So you guys will be able to figure that out if you do your homework.
There you go.
If you care enough.
Yeah. So back to the Smoke Beer show. So this is the part of the show that we're foreshadowing a few of the shows that are coming up in the near future.
Yes. And this show, John will tell you, I've been hounding him to do this show for how long?
About that long.
Yeah, about that long. And I actually, to get him to coerce him into doing the show, I gave him a couple of Grodzinskis by just some terrible goddamn breweries out there.
Horrible. I mean, Schilling. What is that? And what is this treehouse? What is that?
What is the treehouse? That is the glass that's got that beautiful lacing on it that you have. So I gave him a Schilling Grodzinski and I gave him a Treehouse Grodzinski and said,
"It's dried and look at it.
It's beautiful.
It has not changed."
I gave him these beers. Go, you need to hold them for the Smoke Beer show. So this is.
So I'll be consuming them and 1 or maybe even 2 others on that night.
Yeah, so we'll be finding more for that show, not just these 2 Grodzinskis, because we're going to have some stuff in Bamberg. Let's face it. When Americans think of Rausch beers, smoke beers, they're thinking Bamberg, Germany.
No,
most Americans think that's where it was invented. That is not where it was invented. And as a proud Polak, I will tell you, they were invented in Poland. Probably by mistake, knowing my people.
Well, no, because they were probably hanging out by a campfire one night and got their malt a little too close to it. It got smoked, and they made beer the next morning.
This kind of sucks, but we can foist it on people. But we will find some other smoke beers to have on.
Well, but the actual pronunciation, the actual
I can't say it.
It's Rausch beer, right?
It's Rausch beer in Germany.
It's Rausch beer in Germany. So that's
Poland.
The Facebook page that we're talking about, and feel free, anybody listening to this or watching this, feel free to go to This Week in Rausch Beer on Facebook and follow the page, because obviously we'll be promoted on that page as well. And
what's interesting, and this is, we will talk about our guest, and we're being coy about our guest, but we'll just say it straight up. It's John Hall.
It's John Hall.
Right? The thing about this is that ever since this page came up, and albeit originally jokingly,
he originally made it as a joke,
and it became
he had no intention.
It was a challenge. It was a challenge from his co-host, who will remain unnamed. But if you watch,
who may or may not pop up on that show too, but
from Steal This Beer. I just lost my train of thought is where we're going.
It was a challenge from his co-host.
No, but it was before that. We're going. So this page on Facebook comes up. This page gets very, very popular because Steal This Beer has a huge following. And all of a sudden, more and more American breweries start doing smoked beers.
Right.
And we don't know if John just was ahead of his time, or this whole thing was ahead of its time, and just was the preamble to this, or it actually created. There you go. John is showing his Steal This Beer black glass. So if you've ever watched that podcast, they have these black glasses. They have cans or bottles that are completely wrapped in aluminum foil by their producer. And they're supposed to drink them and guess what they are. And our ex-producer's proudest moment ever was when he was on the show. He drank out of the black glass the can of beer that was sent to him, completely wrapped in aluminum foil so he couldn't identify it, and absolutely nailed what he was drinking, because he'd been drinking a whole lot of it prior to that. So it's one of his proudest moments in beer history, I think.
See, that he just threw him under the bus, because without even glossing over it, he glossed over it. Didn't even come out and say it. He says, He nailed what it was because he'd been drinking a lot of it beforehand.
But he said it on the show.
Right.
He said on the show, so it's I'm not disrespecting him whatsoever, because that's what he said. He goes, "I've been drinking a lot of this, so I know what this is."
Right.
So he actually he caveated it with that.
Yeah, and
So-
which just proves that flavor profiles, when they're specific and you drink enough of them, you know what you're doing. You know what you're talking about. So basically what I mean is if you drink 4 beers in a row, and I mean there's room for error here, but if you drink 4 beers in a row and you wait a day and somebody hands you a beer blindfolded, right?
Yeah,
And you
you're
drink
gonna
it, you're going to know what it is because you just drank it the day before.
It's just or if you drink a lot of one beer
On a regular basis.
and you go somewhere. So funny story. I was in Morristown. I was at End of Elm.
Do you drink a lot of another beer?
I do. I drink. I've got one. I've got a few in the fridge. That would be that one. I drink a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
I haven't checked to see if I'm the number one drinker of that yet or not.
You are.
Okay. Yeah, so I was at End of Elm in Morris Plains, and they had boat beer on tap, so I ordered a boat.
Mm-hmm.
They put in front of me. Now look at this beer.
Mm-hmm.
They put in front of me. The beer was clear. I looked and said, "That's not boat beer."
Yeah.
They said, "Yeah, it is."
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, it's not. They went. They checked the keg. They said, "That's boat beer." So I took the glass and went, "Fuck, that's boat beer." Hold on a second. God damn it, that's boat beer. And I texted the owner of the brewery, who will go unmentioned.
Yeah, you can't say his name.
I can't say it again. And I said, and I sent him a picture. I'm like, I'm drinking boat beer. Why the hell is this clear? Text me back, goes, "Where the hell are you?" I said, at End of Elm. He goes, "That's where one of those kegs wound up."
Did they filter it?
They were playing around with it a little bit, and they had a few sixtels of it that came out clear.
That's crazy.
And he completely lost track of where they had been sent. And I just happened to wind up at one of the few places where it was, and one of the people on the planet that could unequivocally identify that, yeah, this is boat beer.
On that note, and I won't say the name of the place, right? This is about 3 months ago-ish. Go out to a restaurant, we're ordering dinner, whatever. We get there, we're sitting down, we're looking at the menu. And of course, they have Building Sandcastles on tap, right?
I know that beer.
Yeah, I just showed the can. I think you're the most drinker of it, right?
I
think I'm the most drinker of it, but you've checked into it more.
On Untapped.
But in any event, so I order one, right? So drinks all come out to the table, right? There's like 8 of us at the table, but drinks all come out to the table, and they put the glass down in front of me, and it's clear, and lighter and clear. I'm like,
that's not Building Sandcastles.
So I looked at, and she put them down really quick, and I'm talking, and she walks away, and I look down at the glass. I'm like, that's not Building Sandcastles. So I call her back over. When she comes over, she goes, "Can I help you?" I says, "Yeah." I go, "Look, I don't mean to be a pain in the neck, but that's not Building Sandcastles." She says, "Sure it is." I'm like,
"You're talking to the
I'm like, "It's not Building Sandcastles." She says, "How do you know?" I says, "Because they own the brewery that makes the beer."
Oopsies.
She goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on, let me check." So they went back. So the bartender, who I think has been relieved of their duties at this point, but it had nothing to do with me. All right. It had nothing to do with me. I don't do that. I don't play that. They have multiple kegs there, right? And they had tapped one. They had ran out the night before, and they tapped another keg and never changed the tap handle. So they're pouring it, right? And she didn't, then nobody even knew, blah, 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 she poured it. So they looked, they traced it back. Sure enough, it's a different keg. They untapped it. They tapped the right one, bing, bang, boom, and sure enough, it was that. So, but so they did the right thing. But, but how do you know it's not? I don't know. Might have some knowledge to this point.
So I'm going to open my 5th beer.
And what is your 5th beer tonight?
If you want to take a guess,
O-Dub. Close enough.
Very, very close. One of the core beers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because when you look at Carton Brewing's flagships,
Right.
really it's only what, 4 beers? 3?
One.
What do you count BDG? They don't do BDG.
You can't BDG. Yeah, but they count it. It's a
They
flag.
count it as a, but they don't brew it enough. So as far as
4, there's 4. I count BGG. So it's boat, ODub, BDG, and milk. Those are the 4 flagships.
And BDG and milk, I don't think they don't get brewed enough. And there was a time there that ODub wasn't getting brewed enough. It is now.
Mm-hmm.
So ODub.
So they had so many variants of it. So that might have been.
You mean the Dubvians?
Dubvians, yes.
Dubvians. So ODub, embarrassing story. So ODub is the nickname of 077XX.
Mm-hmm. And it's 077XX. Why?
This is the embarrassment from it. I never knew what an 077XX was.
I did.
Yeah, you did. And I should have known.
You should have, because, yeah, exactly.
I grew up down there. The first time I go to the brewery, I walk in and they're all wearing these shirts that look like the logo from the U.S. Postal Service.
Sure.
And that's when I realized 077XX. It is the postal code of all the zip codes in Monmouth County.
Pretty much.
But it gets called ODub. So there's a bunch of different bars that have variants that are dry hopped at the end. With a specific hop for that specific bar. They call them Dubvians. And there's about 8, 9, maybe 10 of them now?
Probably more than that, really.
John,
honestly.
I'm going to have to ask you to fill for a little bit because the 4 boats are ready to come out.
I can do that.
I'll be back in a minute.
So
go back into the brewery news. Talk about the special rolling for a little bit.
There you go.
All right, be right back.
I'll actually talk about what I want to talk about, not what he wants me to talk about. So basically, what we were talking about before, and I'll talk a little bit more about this with him, with Dave when he gets back from the gently used beer room, if you will. Is some of the shows coming up. We're just filling time tonight, and I hope you've enjoyed this show. Dave and I's our banter. This is what we originally started doing. Was banter like this. So any of you that I've actually been listening to the show since the original maybe 8 or 10 shows that we did before we started having guests, will be used to this or can recall when we did this. These were our shows. These were our shows back when we actually first started this podcast. Well over 2 years ago, 2 years and a couple months ago at this point. But yeah, so we want to foreshadow a couple of talk about. I shouldn't say foreshadow. Talk about a couple of the shows that are coming up on the docket for the holidays coming up. Again, those of you that have been listening to the show or watching the show on a regular basis for the last couple of years know what we do around the holidays. So it won't become as a surprise to you what we actually talk about. So in that respect. We'll pause on that for a moment, and we'll get back to that after he finishes this quick ODub conversation that he said.
No, go on what you're doing. We're done with the ODub conversation.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case,
I was just apologizing. This is only the second time that's happened on the show where I've had to run in the middle of the show.
I don't understand why you just didn't take a glass or a bottle and do what Brian Boak did.
Really kind of should, huh?
In any event, I was just talking about the fact that some of the shows we're gonna have coming up. Look, I'll foreshadow a couple of them. We're gonna have a show that you're gonna like. We mentioned the brewery. You can scout it out in a couple of weeks. It's gonna be a brand new brewery.
You mentioned the brewery
for most of. We didn't mention the brewery. For most of you in a couple of weeks. Now that's on the 15th. The 22nd, all right, is going to be our holiday beer show. We do this.
I'm so looking forward to that one.
I am very looking.
I'm not looking forward to the next morning because
not so much.
The show gets a little out of hand.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a holiday beer show.
Some of it has to do with the guests we're doing it with,
and also has to do with the fact that when we're done with the show, the rest of Tuesday night happens. Wednesday's the day before Thanksgiving. Thursday's Thanksgiving. Friday's the day after Thanksgiving. So it's a fun week. Okay. It's a fun
actually, no. The show that's probably might be the most painful will be the Thanksgiving show, the 22nd.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah,
that's
the
holiday beer show.
Yeah.
Holiday beer show.
Yeah, because we will have the Beer Whisperer on.
Mm-hmm.
And things always get a little out of hand when Tom's on.
We'll be talking about holiday beers. I will be drinking multiple celebrations. We'll be talking about holiday beers.
And folks, you need to check into this. This will be the first time John has drank a celebration pre-Thanksgiving. Yeah, so he's doing this he's doing it for you.
For you. Not for me.
Yeah, not for him.
For you.
He's doing it for all of you.
Right.
Tune in, watch this, because wow, that just sounds so exciting and special.
But normally, like I said it last week, actually, when we talked about it, I normally have my first celebration of the year on Thanksgiving morning, right after I get the turkey in the oven, somewhere between 8 and 9. Right. So I'll be like just before 9 o'clock, I'll be opening my first celebration of the year, sitting down, drinking it while the parade starts. You know?
Yes.
Right. But
and I'm trying to think. Is this not the first time I've drank 5 beers on one podcast? Okay, so you mean I need to go one more to get to 6?
It might have been actually. No, I think you actually went 4 beers and then brown liquor.
Then hard liquor,
Hard liquor, yeah. So in any event, so my point is I will have one of the beers I will have on the show on the 22nd of November, 3 weeks from tonight. It will be a celebration. So it'll be the first time before that I have a celebration prior to Thanksgiving. So I know, granted, it's 2 days, or honestly, at that point, like just over a day and a half prior to when I normally do.
John and I will spend the next 3 weeks looking for holiday beers to have on the show.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure it will merge at some point into bourbon cocktails.
It might. I may have to invent I've never made a holiday cocktail. Oh, it depends on what holiday. I've never made a Thanksgiving Christmas cocktail. I've done a Halloween cocktail, which we talked about last week. So I may have to. We have to concoct something.
Right. So then we have a few other shows. Obviously, we mentioned John Hall on January 10th, the Smoke Beer Show.
I'm still looking forward to this show.
I'm looking forward to that. I don't want to rush the holidays, but I'm looking forward to that show.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to just farting smoke.
There you go. On December 27th is going to be our final show of 2022. And that's going to be what we do every year. It's going to be our big beer show with Matt.
And this is another one where it's going to be the next day is going to be
fun,
brutal,
right?
Oof.
And then there's going to be plenty of really good shows in between. So just gear up and enjoy what you got coming in store for you over the next few months.
Yeah, I've got some stuff put up for that big beer show because John knows full well where the hell I've been when I did my New Hampshire trip. So he knows some of the stuff I could have grabbed. The other day, I was going through the box of beer that I brought back from that trip. And I'm going...
Box of beer. I've heard of a box of wine, but I've never heard
this is a box. It was not just a box of beer, but I also I brought back so much beer from there. And again, like I said, when I was at Barreled Souls... I really needed a handler for that to look at me and go, no. The stuff that I brought back from there, and at least one of those beers will probably make that show. If not 2 of them, I've got stuff from Treehouse that may make that show that are just because Treehouse can get really up there with their ABVs.
Right. And I'm also trying to come up with some sort of a format for myself, whether it's just a show that we have another guest on and I do this by myself, or we do it as another show with just me, you, and another guest specifically for this purpose. But I want to do a brown ale show.
Yes, we've been talking about doing a brown ale show. There's a few things that we've talked about that we need to do. We were relaxed this year. We didn't do the year prior. We promised we will do it next year. We will do an Oktoberfest show. The guest that we have in mind for that show, we hope to have on prior to that show, though.
Yeah, I don't want to wait until that. I don't want to wait till next September to have him on. He'll be on before, and then
he's commented before, but we need to get him on the show.
You know what? I think we'll need to bring him on and have a 5-guest show. Well, not 5 guests, 5 people show that night. 3 guests.
3 guests
show that night.
Yeah, because
and you know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going with this. Yeah. And we'll have to figure out what to do. What would be appropriate to do that? We'll figure that out. But
maybe we can do it somewhere between March and May, and have that show, and then bring him back for September next year.
He might not be a bad guest for a St. Patrick's Day show.
That might not be bad either. So we'll figure it out.
But what we're going with that is that we promise we will do an Oktoberfest show at some point. Do not expect us to be in Lederhosen.
I may be.
John may be. You have it, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, he does. So we may put John in Lederhosen, because I said it. It's Lederhosen, not Lederhosen.
It's Lederhosen.
It's Lederhosen, which means leather pants, is all that it means.
And it's not even close to that, but it means leather pants.
It means leather pants.
Yeah.
And so that we want to do a brown ale show, because John and I both love our brown ales. We don't want to get to the point where we just do a show based on every single style out there, but we do believe that brown ales deserve their own show. So we got the holidays, we've got the high ABVs, we'll have the fest beers or Oktoberfest Martzen show, brown ale, and of course then there is the Lager Day show. We did last year from Sourest Brewing. We will figure out when Lager Day, because Lager Day is in spring.
Lager Day is in spring, yes.
So we'll figure out where to do it from there. If I had my druthers, no, we wouldn't do it from druthers. They don't do a lot of lagers up there. We would do it. If I had my druthers, we maybe some place that specializes in Czech lagers, either in Denver or just south of Portland. I don't know. But there's so many places we could do a lager-based show.
Agreed.
Human Robot would not be a bad place to do that from.
No, that would be a great place to do that from. I'd love to do that from there.
As a matter of fact. So we've got a lot coming up. It's funny because, we're supposedly coming out of COVID, but every time we turn around, there's someone that we know. Carrie's aunt was exposed to COVID. It's still there. It's still a risk.
Still around. It's not gone.
It's not gone, but it's not as deadly as it once was. So we want to get out there a little more often. John with the brewery is quite busy, but and of course right now for work I'm quite busy, but we hope to get more shows done from live locations. Montauk this, not this weekend, the prior weekend, was probably just a shot across the bow. Right. We're looking to do more stuff along those lines. So hopefully when things quiet down for me at work, John and I can get out to more places, and maybe we can do a few live shows on the date and the day and time that we're actually scheduled to do shows, like on a Tuesday night.
That would be great.
It'll require a little driving on both of our parts. Hopefully we'll have designated drivers for us for those. But John's usual designated driver plays Mahjong on Tuesday, so we'll see.
This is true. So that does happen. So, yeah. So we're gonna put up. We're gonna have a lot of good shows coming up.
Yes.
Literally.
And we do apologize because lately, and I think it has a lot to do with the weather. We've had a lot of guests planned over the last 6 weeks, and a lot of that's fallen through. So you're getting a lot of just the two of us. Some of it's planned just to be the two of us. Like last week was planned to be just the two of us because of the Montauk visit. But a lot of times we're seeing where we can't actually, for one reason or another, the guest has to cancel or whatever. So, but we're booked pretty damn solid through the year, are we not, John?
We are pretty much solid through the rest of the year into January.
Yeah.
And based on some other tentative shows, we may within the next couple of weeks, maybe actually book through March.
So, and we're actually starting to reach out because John and I say it all the time on the show when we've had a great show with a phenomenal guest. We would love to have you back on the show. And a couple of times we've delivered on that, but we're starting to reach out to some of the guests we had on prior that we want to get back on. Mm-hmm. There's so many shows we've had where we've had guests we just so enjoyed having them on the show. We want to get them back. So we're starting to reach out to them. So look for some repeat guests. Those will be coming up. And John and I beer travel all the time. And anytime we beer travel, we're talking to them. We're talking about the show. And, we've got a lot of people that want to be on the show. John's got a lot of them booked. John is so used to having pictures of business cards texted to him from me. And
so between everywhere he visits, everywhere I visit, and just the people we know in general, we honestly, not to belabor this, but based on the database of people that we want to get on the show and that want to be on the show, we probably have the next 2 years will be able to be booked.
If we can do that. Yes. And I've got some travels coming up. John's got some travels coming up because his lady's got a big birthday coming up. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be all over so many
creation.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I'm still trying to get John. It was one show that I want to do. I'm going to put this out. This is just a challenge to John.
Go for it.
We're talking about getting to Montreal in 2023. And if we get to Montreal, there's one specific brewery that I am not allowed to live stream from unless John's actually there. So when I have that booked, and or when I have decided when I'm going, I'm throwing that to John. Mm-hmm. We're going. Come with us, because I will live stream from the brewery that I'm not allowed to live stream from without John. So it's up to John to make it there.
I won't tell anybody what that brewery is.
No. It's only people watching the live show may know what we're talking about. It's John's favorite brewery in Canada. One of his favorite breweries in all of North America. And I've been. It's a fantastic place to drink.
Absolutely.
Is it my favorite brewery in Montreal? John, I'm sorry, it's not.
No, your favorite brewery is. Do
you remember? It's a bit east of the Chiel. It's named after a large ungulate.
A large ungulate. I want to say one, but I'm not sure. So go ahead, just tell everybody.
Okay, so let's go to Edgar Allan Poe. Mm-hmm. Blank and the Pendulum.
Pitt.
So Pitt and a large ungulate. I'll give it to you. Pitt Caribou.
Oh, Pitt Caribou, right? Pitt Caribou. That's your favorite, Pitt Caribou. Yeah,
that was hands down.
I have not been, so I'll give you that until I'm there.
So yes, so if we go in 2023, you come with us. Mm-hmm. We go to the Chiel. We live stream from there. We also live stream from Pitt Caribou.
Nice. All right, sounds good. So we've prefaced the next couple months and what we have in store for next year
and into next year.
Next year. But I think it's time.
We want to do, and hopefully we can do 3/4 of what we want to do. I know we can do half of what we want to do.
We can definitely do half. If we can get to 3/4, I'll be happy. So.
Yes.
Anyway, on that note, while Dave pours his 6th boat.
Well, how did you know it was another boat?
I had a guess. We're gonna wrap the show up, but before we do,
I don't
You
know
we
that
have
there's
to.
going to be. I don't know. We're going to get to another show where I get 6 beers in one show.
Probably not.
Because
you know,
how many beers do I drink on the show that are only 4.3%?
Exactly 4.2.
4.2. You're correct. 4.2. There we go. That's
Yeah. Okay. Which we got none. So in that case, yeah. So before we wrap up the show, we have to do what we normally do, and today is National Vinegar Day.
Yes. So we're going with favorite hot. No, we're not doing favorite hot sauces.
We're not favorite hot sauces.
That
No,
may
we
be
talked
one.
about it. We actually did it. Actually, we did that about a year and a half ago. A little over a year and a half ago. We did it with PJ Wendell.
That's right. We did we not?
We did.
Good memory. I completely forgot about it because that was one of the top threes I pitched.
That's about a year and 7 months ago, almost. We did
PJ.
that. So.
PJ when he was the brewer for Ross.
When back then, yes, he's not any longer. But when he was, that was the show.
Now, what is PJ doing? He's eating a lot of meat.
He's eating a lot of meat.
Yes,
he eats a lot of meat. Well, he was eating a lot of meat then too.
Yeah.
That really never changed. So.
He's just not doing the brewing for Ross anymore. He's just continuing to eat a lot of meat.
Right, exactly. He's got another gig. He's happy. That's all that counts.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Okay, so our top three. What is
our
top three?
Our top three this week is
because it's National Vinegar Day.
Top 3 sourest beers we've ever had.
Yes.
Top 3 sourest beers we've ever had. And I'm going to let Dave kick it off. Please do.
So the first one, I had the pleasure of going to a schooling by Jeffers from Firestone Walker. So when you talk about Firestone Walker, it is about the bear and the lion, right? So you've got
this is 3. You're going 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I'm going 3, 2, 1. For a change, I'm going 3, 2, 1. John.
There you go.
It doesn't happen often, but I'm actually going to go 3, 2, 1. So when you talk about you're talking about I can't remember Firestone's first name, but David Walker. He's the lion. The bear is Mr. Firestone. What's his first name?
Jeff?
No.
Tony?
We'll say Sam.
Al?
You can call me Al. But Jeffers is like number 3.
Ray? Jay?
This is my brother. Ray.
You can call me Ray. You can call me Jay. Or you can call me Johnson.
This is my brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl.
I was talking about the commercial back in like.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I just went to Newhart show.
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah.
So, but
best last episode, final scene of last episode ever.
Newhart
ever.
Oh, maybe Cry.
Ever. Best last scene of last episode ever in TV.
Oh, I don't know. MASH.
Yes.
MASH.
Oh no. Yeah, sentimental wise, MASH was perfect. That was a great ending. The Newhart last scene, best one ever.
That was an underrated sitcom. Amazing. So, at any rate, so I was at Cloverleaf Tavern. Jeffers is giving a schooling on how to taste sour beers, and I'm sitting next to the owner of the guy who makes this beer, the brewery that makes this beer.
That would be Mr. Boat.
Yeah, Mr. Boat. We'll call him Mr. Boat. And actually sitting across from me is one of the guests that was on the show, Tara Nurin. So we're sitting at a table, and I can't remember who else was at the table. I can't remember his name. I can picture him. Gary Rosen. Gary Rosen was there as well. So that was our table. So you got some 4 pretty knowledgeable beer people sitting at this table. And we are being schooled by Jeffers on how to drink sour beer. 4 people that really think they know their shit, who, when Jeffers starts speaking, we all understood. We don't know shit from fuck, to steal a line from the Ozarks. And one of the beers we had that day, and it was the sourest beer that we had that day, is Firestone Walker's Bretta Rosa.
By the way, everything that Dave was just doing, as far as who was at the table and everything else, essentially this is what he was doing.
Name dropping. It's not what, well, yeah, because one was on our show, and Gary.
I'm kidding. It's a joke.
We may need to have Gary on the show one day.
We should get Gary on the
We
show.
should get Gary on the show. So Bretta Rosa, that's my number 3. Number 2 is also, I know it's on John's list, because when you start, so Bretta Rosa is just face puckering. My next 2 are just straight up vinegar in a bottle. When beer gets to a sour point where it becomes straight up vinegar, wine can do that, but wine does that because it went bad. Beer does that not because it went bad, because they just went ape shit with the souring agents in it.
Souring it.
Yeah. And Weyerbacher did a beer. It's a raspberry sour. And some years were more face puckering than others. And I can't give you what year was the one that was just straight up raspberry vinegar, but it's Weyerbacher's Reserva.
2015.
You are probably, I think you're absolutely correct with that. 2015 was just straight up vinegar. And that was one of the most sour beers you could possibly drink. But I came across...
But it was very good.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Fantastic.
But we used to have, there was a bar in Booton, right near the Montville border. It's called Poor Henry's. My friend Jesse was...
We should have Jesse on the show, too.
Yeah, one of these days we should have Jesse on the show. They fell to COVID. Unfortunately, God rest their souls. Jesse's still alive, so he's not dead. It's just the bar is. The bar is. And we would bring stuff. We had a bottle share there. Like not like that bar did not have a lot of great sours on tap as it was, because Jesse loved his sours. I don't know who the hell he blew to get some of the beers on tap that he got. He had, for a small bar in this podunk town in northern Jersey, for him to have some of the beers he had on tap was unspeakable. But because of that, he attracted some of us beer geeks, and we would drink the hell out of those things. If he didn't kill the keg, one of us would. But one of the bottle shares, and I brought this bottle. It was from Birrificio del Ducato. And if you didn't figure it out, it's an Italian brewery. And they brewed a beer called My Blueberry Nightmare. They knew damn well what they had brewed. And this was straight up blueberry vinegar. The most positive comment about this beer during the tasting was, I would love to boil this down and make a sauce out of it. This was one of the most bracing beers, one of the most stomach-turning beers I've ever drank in my life. And unlike Reserva, which was delicious and had a phenomenal raspberry flavor to it, the My Blueberry Nightmare did have a blueberry flavor. I can't say it was a just lovely blueberry flavor. It was a bracing, holy crap, get me a Tagament.
Yeah, right.
This beer made almost every beer the rest of the night undrinkable. So I got cursed a lot by everybody at that tasting who tasted that beer. Like, why would you bring something like this? But we're talking about not our favorite sour beers. Because John originally wanted to put it our favorite sour beers. I'm like, no, not favorite, just our sour beers. And this was most sour beer I've ever tasted, was My Blueberry Nightmare from. So if you want to taste something that's just straight up blueberry vinegar, that's supposedly a beer, find that, because they still brew it.
You still do. I just actually looked it up.
They still brew the damn thing.
It's still on. Batch 4 is the most recent.
And that was what, 2019?
3 actually. I'm sorry. It hasn't been checked in. No, it was checked in. Well, it was checked in this year. Multiple check-ins this year. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's still out there. So you can find it. It's in that weird
Birrificio del Ducato. 9.4%.
It is. It's in those weird shaped Italian bottles.
Soragna, Emilia Romagna, Italy.
Yeah. So if you really want to experience something quite different, find it.
There you go. All right.
I guarantee it's still on the shelf.
We're approaching 1 hour and 45 minutes on just the two of us show. So I'm going to move mine along
because John has got a thick ass pork chop waiting for him.
I do.
Yeah.
So
we're talking about his dinner.
this is true. In any event, more on that later. Anyway, so mine are. I'll give you two honorable mentions. I'll give you two honorable mentions really quick.
Reserva. I don't want mentions for this.
I will. I'll give you a Reserva.
Okay, because I already mentioned it. So
you mentioned it, and I couldn't decide whether I wanted to put what I have as number 3 or what I have as this one as number 3. So I'm going to throw it out there. La Roja from Jolly Pumpkin.
That's a damn good beer.
Yeah. So and let me also add in right now. Not only I actually gave a twist. These are my top 3 favorite sourest beers.
Well, these are your favorite sours.
Favorite sourest beers.
Yeah, because if we go into my favorite, then we're looking like
yeah. No. But I was able to do this because they are the sourest beers I've ever had.
Yeah. Because
it's both. So you would have gone in two directions. I was able to combine.
Because I would have gone to some Allagashes if we're going.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. No, I got you. But so La Roja from Jolly Pumpkin, which I actually was fortunate enough to have out at Jolly Pumpkin in Michigan. So
okay, so you I'm name dropping, and he's like, I was in Jolly Pumpkin.
Anyway, okay, so here are my top 3. Number 3, Eau de Tart with boysenberries from the brewery.
That is, I've not had it with boysenberry.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the Eau de Tart. I can't remember which version I had because they've done that with many different.
Now, my favorite sour, I say as an aside, it's not part of this list. My favorite sour from the brewery is Sour in the Rye.
Sour in the Rye is beautiful.
Amazing friggin' beer because it's not just a sour. So
no. But if you go my favorite sour,
so complex, it's ridiculous.
The brewery, for me, it's Beauregard.
Beauregard's amazing too. Amazing too.
One, because I love the flavor because I do love blueberry, but also the reference to Willy Wonka.
Sure, absolutely. Violet Boulevard. Yeah. But
Violet, you're turning violet.
Violet. Okay. So Eau de Tart with boysenberries from the brewery. All right, that's number 2. Number 3.
Damn.
Number 2 is Duchess de Bourgogne from Breweries Verhaeghe. Breweries Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe is the actual name.
I know. I'm just I'm 6 boats in, so you can give me the slur on that one.
No worries.
I've always pronounced it Duchess de Bourgogne.
That's Duchess de Bourgogne. De
Bourgogne. And now they do
G's. You don't pronounce the G's at all. De Bourgogne.
Now they do it with tart cherry now.
Tart cherry. They do it with tart cherry. They actually have a version with tart cherry. Yes, they do.
Which doesn't make it any more sour, but it adds more fruit flavor to it.
And it is
beautiful.
It is Jess's favorite sour, and I love sours. Jess makes me look like I hate sours. Okay, all right. And it is her favorite sour, and I will tell you this quick story.
One with cherry or without cherry?
Without cherry, the regular one. In one particular casino hotel, I won't say which, in Atlantic City, and I'm going back probably 10 years, but maybe a little less, but not much. We're walking through, and they had a pop-up bar. I forget what they said. High-end beers. It was something stupid, right? High-end beers, $5 a bottle. They had Blue Moon, Heineken, Bud Light, high-end beer, right? Bud Light.
Bud Light's a high-end beer.
Right. Miller Lite. Okay. And Duchess de Bourgogne. So, let me say that again. Blue Moon, Heineken, Bud Light, Miller Lite, and Duchess de Bourgogne. So now they were 12-ounce bottles or 11.3-ounce bottles. They had them for $5 a bottle. We saw this. We walked up and we go, and obviously they didn't know what they had, right? Or they were just getting rid of it.
No, it's like, yeah.
We said,
how many? No. They knew what they had. They just know that charging $5 for Bud Light and Blue Moon, they're making so much money that they can charge for Duchess de Bourgogne and make up the balance.
Right. So we walked up and we go, how many bottles do you have right now of that? They said we have 10. We threw down $50 and took all 10.
That's a smart move right there. That's a
I mean, it
move.
wasn't two of us. It was like in fact, it was 5 of us. So we each had 2. So there you go. So, but in any event, so there you go. Duchess de Bourgogne. And number 1, and it's probably my favorite sour beer, period, but it is definitely one of the sourest beers I've ever had. And that would be Consecration from Russian River.
That is a absolutely gorgeous beer.
Mm-hmm.
I've only had it once, and I got it out in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, at one of the few places that is allowed to sell beer not by the case, because they do have one stupid law out there. New Jersey's got so many other stupid laws, but they had that one stupid law that so many places that were not grandfathered in could only sell by the case. This place, Max's.
Sounds about right. Bethlehem, I'm pretty sure that it is.
Yeah, I think it's Max's. And I got a bottle of Consecration there, and it's gorgeous beer.
It's my favorite Russian River beer. Everybody's like, no. I mean, they're like, Supplication's great, and Supplication is great. Consecration's the best. I'm a huge, huge blackcurrant fan. And yes. Consecration's a blackcurrant beer.
Yes, it is.
The best Russian River beer for me, there is, period. So,
and everyone's going, well, they'll go Pliny the Younger.
Great beer. Pliny the Elder's delicious. I've never had Pliny the Younger.
Neither have I.
Never had it.
So we will hold judgment on that, but Pliny the Elder, amazing beer.
Came close a couple times at
Monks,
Flat Rock. No, in Denver. They had it on tap. There was something else I had to have first.
And they kick before.
Yeah.
You see it, grab it because it's going to kick real quick.
Yeah.
And Monks will get it. They won't advertise it. Just you need to know that Pliny the Younger has been tapped. The kegs are out there, and Monks is getting one.
Yep.
So you need to time it and be there.
There you go. All right.
John's getting hungry.
I'm getting hungry. We've done a very long show, just the two of us. Probably our longest, just the two of us show. So on that note, we will wrap the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching.
We probably took about at least 15 minutes of it me peeing.
Oh, I think it was 20, actually.
20? Okay.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks from League of Their Own.
There you go. So we want to thank everybody for watching. Those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and, of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Give or take. And for those of you just give or take. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. And we will talk to you soon, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Ciao, everybody.
Ciao.